live, but not on Twitch because Twitch doesn't like the title that we came up with. We have to update the title.
Oh
Ooh, I
boy.
know why.
Yep.
Um,
Some big words. Big
big
words
words.
right in the
Big
beginning.
words in the title, so let me change the title. Twitch is very picky about the titles. I'm just gonna change Indian Dalit Girl, just nothing else. Let's see if it accepts it. Go live. Yeah, we're live on Twitch as well. So actually, that's a good a reminder for anybody that is watching us on Facebook and YouTube that we're also on Twitch, and you could follow us on Twitch if you are on Twitch. Link in the description. Anyways, we're gonna be covering the news today. We have two news items today. We have Susanna here. We have Rivka here. Oh, but guys, we have a new emote for Rivka. Should I show the new emote for Rivka?
Yes. I love it.
Okay, so on YouTube, if you are a member, you get to use our emotes. And here's Rivka's emote.
Rivka
Thank
actually matches today, just coincidentally.
yeah. Yeah, guys. Okay, cool. This is Rivka's emote. Anyways, but let's get into the news. Susanna.
Should I try to use coded language or should I just say it right off the top and then use coded language?
I mean, use I don't know. No, use coded language because when we cut these, we probably might be able to get away with it if you use coded language. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. First news. It's not good news. Indian Dalit girl sexually assaulted to death, body forcefully cremated by the police. Hashtag Dalit Lives Matter. A 17-year-old Dalit girl was AR'd to death in her landlord's house where she worked as a maid. The girl had been working in the landlord's house and experiencing mental and physical abuse, and she was forced to sleep in the driver's room and was restrained and threatened by the landlady when she tried to inform her relatives. She was found sexually assaulted by the landlord's son and driver and hanged in the driver's room. Later, the police removed the body and did not inform the family. About 12 relatives of the girl assembled at the landlord's home searching for the body and were taken into police custody and beaten. The next morning, the police sent the body for autopsy. They allowed the family members to view the body for around 5 minutes, which was later forcefully cremated in the presence of 300 police officers.
Um. All right. So, how do we know this was because it had any? How do we know that this is like this is when people are accusing that this was because this we had a news like this just recently. Is this a repeat of exactly that, or is it
Yes,
just yeah?
yes.
So this is like a reoccurring event, hey?
So it's the same thing, just a different victim. Same style of murder and okay.
Not
It's
exactly the same style of murder. The other girl in Hathras, um, uh, Mish, Minsha, um, she was actually, I don't even know if I want to get into the details. It's really disgusting what they did to her body. But something different. But the theme is, you know, upper caste family perpetrating this crime. The police forcefully cremate the body too quickly to conduct a proper investigation, and they don't allow people to see the body, and then they basically destroy the evidence against the wishes of the family.
But they did an autopsy in this one, so do they have any evidence from that autopsy that they've released?
What was disclosed in the article was, yeah, like asphyxiation. She was hanged.
So that's it though. Like they didn't do like forensics or that we know of
That
before
I know of.
What's the rush to get rid of the body? Just to sort of close the case and wash their hands of it? Because this is a common theme that we've heard, that the police are Oh, the R capital of the world.
Too late.
Of course,
Mhm.
I'm not, not all, but this is a continual theme,
It's
apparently.
constant.
Yeah.
And so when people send me news that I cover, I often ask them for like a little bit of their commentary on it or more context, because they're locals. So one person was telling me about this case. It's very similar to what happened to Manisha in Hathras. Um, Also, like what's happening in Hathras, which basically became like militarized by the police in an effort to cover up the story. Journalists have been aggressively stopped from inquiring about the incident. So what happened in Hathras, they basically shut down the whole village trying to prevent journalists from getting in, to the point that there's this one famous female journalist, I forget her name, but she showed a video of her literally going through the fields to try to get into the village on the back end away from the police. Um, so um it's like an epidemic. It's and I wanted to continue to highlight how consistent this problem is. Yeah.
It's like a metastasized cancer,
Yes.
like, so there's this issue that's just horrendous, like a, cancer, and it just keeps metastasizing again and again. And because it's not being treated, so to speak, if we're going to go on this medical metaphor.
Completely. um Armin, do you have any commentary?
No, for people on YouTube who are saying we're buffering, this seems to be a more of a YouTube thing. Link, I'm not sure. I think we're better. Actually, I think it's fixed now. Is it fixed now? Sorry, this is a YouTube thing. We do have a Twitch also. It seems like we're better on Twitch right now. But again, sorry, seems to be a YouTube thing. And link to our Twitch is in the description if you want to try that. But I think we're okay now. Are we okay now? Yeah, we're okay now. Yes, the software is working completely well on our end, so that was a um, YouTube thing. But anyways, anytime you see on Facebook or on YouTube that that YouTube is like, or Facebook is like not playing nice, try our Twitch. And actually, that's a good way to promote. Oh yeah, people are saying yeah, it's getting stable. Okay, yeah, but again, have Twitch as a backup in case you don't like the buffering on YouTube. Okay. Anyways, um, can I clap for the next news?
It's not bad. It's
It's
controversial. I don't
it's
know if
okay. Controversial is
yeah.
fine. Next news.
You just want to clap. That's fine. Um, so next news. Muslim man denied German citizenship for refusing to shake woman's hand in Germany. A German court recently ruled that a Muslim man who refused to shake a woman's hand should not receive German citizenship. The Lebanese doctor who came to Germany in 2002 said he refuses to shake women's hands for religious reasons. The Administrative Court of Baden Württemberg ruled that a person who rejects a handshake due to a quote, fundamentalist conception of culture and values, end quote, due to seeing women as, quote, a danger to sexual temptation, was rejecting, quote, integration into German living conditions. The doctor applied for citizenship through naturalization in 2012 and passed the naturalization test with the best possible score. However, he was not granted citizenship due to his refusal to shake hands with the female official at the naturalization ceremony in 2015. The German court found that anyone who refuses to shake hands on gender specific grounds is in breach of the equality enshrined in the German constitution.
I support this. Rivka says me too. Um, I'm against like saying that oh you don't get citizenship because you're a Muslim or you're a Christian or something like that. But this is not based on the label of your religion. This is because you just can't seem to accept the country's values. Like you are, you know, I don't care that this is your religion. Like just because your sky daddy says that you can't behave you can't accept the values of our countries. I'm not gonna give certain privilege. I'm not going to just be like, oh, okay, other people, if they don't accept the values in this country, we're going to not be okay with it. But because you say that there's ancient scripture, this magic man wrote this book 1400 years ago, that all of a sudden makes it a-okay. I mean, that's religious privilege. I think that's fantastic. I think if we screen based on values, um, people say like, oh, religion. If you say you're a Muslim, well, that's values. No, because a lot of people just are nominally Muslims. A lot of people just have the label without actually living by certain standards. So I don't think just using the label as a screening process, I don't think that is fair. But if your actual ideas are influenced, if you're like a misogynist or a sexist or a homophobe or against secularism or against democracy or for violence or against peace, if I'm not screening based on your religion. I'm screening based on your crappy values. And if your value system is like, sorry, my magic daddy told me that I can't touch women, and we're like, yeah, well, guess what? This is not the right country for you. Goodbye. Rivka, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna just elaborate more on what you said. So, especially the values, but not even such the value. I mean, you could hold whatever values you want. It's your actions, right? You can think that it's bad to touch women, but you're willing to abide by what the values, the standards, the law of the country is. And gender, segregation or discrimination against someone based on their gender is against the law in Germany, which they've stated it, violates this particular part of their constitution. So it's not just what he believes or what he may value, but it's his actions. He's actually acting out these
But
particular set of beliefs by refusing to obey the law and by stating that he doesn't have to obey the law because he has a magic sky friend.
right. I mean, okay, but even if it was beliefs, okay, so like Qasim is saying why he should accept the values. Just obeying the rules is not enough. I think obeying the rules is enough for you to stay out of jail. But citizenship is more than just obeying the rules. I think citizenship is also based on if you're compatible with this country's values. I think I'm okay with screening not just based on actions but also values. If you are homophobic, for example, even if you're obeying the laws, I'm okay with screening based on values. Yeah, you're obeying the values. Great job. While you're here, if you're a permanent resident, we're not gonna put you to jail, even if you're a homophobe. We're not gonna shut. You could say your homophobic views. Nobody's gonna stop you. Uh, but we don't owe you a citizenship, right? We don't like, hey, give me citizenship, even though I have crappy ideas. Like, no. Why? Why do you think you deserve like citizenship is a privilege?
Mhm.
You don't have a right to a country's citizenship. If Germany doesn't want to give it to you because you have crappy ideas, even if you're acting properly, they don't want you as a citizen. They don't have to give you citizenship. Susanna.
I have more information on this case just for more context to be more fair. So he argues that he had promised his wife not to shake hands with another woman. His petition against the ruling was originally unsuccessful, but following this recent decision, the court said that the man can appeal to the federal level due to the fundamental significance of the case. The VGH, which is the German acronym for the court, described the handshake as a common nonverbal greeting and farewell ritual, which are independent of the sex of the involved parties, adding that the practice goes back centuries. The handshake is therefore, quote, deeply rooted in social, cultural, and legal life, which is the way that shapes the way that we live together. Um, da, 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 da. And so, in addition, the man's refusal in this case had the effect of lending validity to a, quote, salafist perspective on the social ramifications of relations between men and women. Um, the court said it made no difference that the man has now declared he will not shake hands with men either. Um, the man claimed that he wanted to affirm the equality of men and women, but the court found that this was merely a tactical move. Um, and also, so the thing is that when you apply for citizenship through naturalization, you have to sign a declaration of loyalty to the German Constitution and against extremism. So he did do that. He did pass this naturalization test again with like the highest possible score. However, I found, thank you to XMNA, I found a translation of this German ruling that says a purely verbal commitment by the applicant to the free democratic basis a basic order is not sufficient to fulfill the naturalization requirement of XYZ paragraph and clause. The commitment to a free democratic basic order must also apply in terms of content. So they're saying like it must be demonstrated through the content of your character, so to speak. You can't just pay lip service. Inadequate lip service is given, for example, if the naturalization applicant avoids clear answers to questions from the court that have allowed conclusions to be drawn on his understanding of Islam and his attitudes to the free democratic basic order. If there are well-founded doubts that the naturalization applicant is committed to the free democratic basic order of the Federal Republic of Germany, discretion can be exercised according to paragraph blah 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 blah. So
So they are saying it's his actions. It's not just that he said, "Yeah, I agree with this," but then he did not act on what he claimed to agree with.
Respect for the free democratic basic order requires that the naturalization applicant unconditionally accepts the powers of democratically legitimized legislator to legislate, even if the state law is in contradiction to parentheses supposed or actual religious commandments.
Qasim is asking, so accepting the values should be law. I never said that. I specifically said that you don't have to accept the if you don't accept the values, you're not going to go to jail. You haven't done anything criminal, but the country doesn't owe you citizenship. I think VHS is going a little bit too far. VHS YouTube is saying anyone who doesn't integrate this in the society they have come in should be deported. Why come to a Western country if you are closed-minded? No, that is too far. I think you should be able to, if you're obeying the laws, even if you have different values, you should be able to get residentship. You should be able to get a work visa. You should be able to get a student visa. But I think the country doesn't owe you citizenship. I don't think like deporting everybody because like, yeah, I think that's going a bit too far. Okay, but again, the country doesn't owe you citizenship, but that doesn't mean they don't want to give you, residentship. I mean, I think the standards for residentship or work visa or student visa should be a lot lower than the standards we have for citizenship, right? Whatever those standards are.
And I agree with you, Armin, because citizenship comes with certain rights and it endows someone with something on a higher level in terms of how you're seen under the law, how you're seen in the country, the things you can and can't do, like voting. Most of the time permanent residents can't vote. Maybe in their local elections, some countries are different, but usually in the national ones. So you are endowed with certain rights, but you also have certain responsibilities that come with citizenship. So
Yeah, and you're
having
right,
different level of standard of what's acceptable is totally, in my mind, absolutely not any kind of contradiction at all or hypocrisy.
Actually, Rivka, very, very good point because giving citizenship to people that have values that your country is not based on eventually will lead to your country's values changing because citizenship comes with the right of voting, right? That's why you really need to be careful, not just with action, but people's values, because your secularism and all the other rights that you have fought for could just go away if all of a sudden you keep giving voting rights to people that are against the values of your country, right? And that's why screening for values, not just behavior, is very, very important when you're giving people citizenship.
It's so interesting. I found this other part of this legal document. Basically, the plaintiff's wife, after this incident, announced in a letter that her husband had previously returned her handshake to the employee. Wait, but she herself is a very jealous woman and she does not like it when her husband touches other women. She therefore urgently asked him not to do this. The employee of the district office misinterpreted the whole situation. She assumed that her husband did not understand equality. However, his actions have nothing to do with discrimination. Her husband simply refused to shake hands out of respect and love for her. As a doctor, her husband naturally has physical contact with patients. She tolerated this because it was medically necessary. If her husband were a dishonest person, he would have just shaken his hand and she would have never found out about this. So that's their defense.
What goes on in between their marriage and between the two of them hardly matters in a court of law, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, her jealousy, you know what I mean? I don't know. It seems weak from a legal standpoint.
Yeah, and
But
this guy, yeah, I don't think they're. I think they're coming up with excuses. This guy's a Muslim, and he's not shaking a woman's hand. We know what's going on here. But go on, sorry, Rivka.
going to comment. I was going to comment about this comment about Afashin's. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, buddy. Saying, just playing devil's advocate, what if you're a born citizen? Should you be made stateless because you have bad values? So there's a difference between bringing someone in from the outside and giving them or allowing them to have this right of citizenship versus just being born that way. I mean, I'm sorry, but maybe it sets up two tiers, but there obviously are several tiers. There's, work visas, there's tourist visas, there's resident visas, there's temporary. So there already are these sets of tiers, okay? And if you're born there and you have bad values, you want to try, and if they act on those, then that's an issue. That's separate from just deporting someone. But as Armin stated, you're not owed citizenship by that country. They get to choose who they want to bestow this privilege and these rights upon.
Right, and
If you're
another
born
point.
there, the choice is made already, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm not sure that argument, but I see where you're coming from in terms of having a discussion.
Okay, so Afshin, if you take someone's citizenship away, that is
It's illegal.
the cause. Yeah, but it should be legal because that will completely rock the foundations of the meaning of you being a citizen of your country. Like, it's kind of like saying like, oh, I have a scar on your hand. Oh, let me just take it out with an RPG or something like that. Like, basically the meaning of what it means to be a German citizen, like you're threatening everyone's citizen. It just, that's a very dangerous precedent to set, that people's citizenship could be taken away based on their values. That means that all the rights and all the values and all the freedoms people could enjoy can arbitrarily be taken away by an authoritarian government. You're giving the government too much influence and too much power if you do that. That is like, you don't want to even go there, right? The meaning of what it means to be German all of a sudden changes because of some bad actors. But yeah,
I just wanted to make one other point. This question is a really good question because it actually demonstrates what citizenship means. When you become a citizen, you are endowed with certain rights that you do, or when you're born as a citizen through, just accident of birth, you are endowed with certain rights that you do not necessarily have if you are not a citizen. And so they can choose to give those to you and allow you to become a citizen. That's the key point about being a citizen, is that it does come with these sets of rights and it means a certain thing. And Armin's point about just taking it away, well, then what happens to the value of the citizenship? The citizenship has value because of what it gives to you as an individual in terms of the rights that are bestowed upon you by that. So if you could just do that, then there's no point in having a citizenship test or allowing people or not allowing people, because it's just arbitrary. So I think that that really illustrates why it's important to make this distinction, and why it's important, and why there's nothing wrong with saying we're not going to give you this privilege or allow you these specific set of rights, because we don't feel that whatever it is about you, whether it's your values, your actions, your, if you committed crimes, whatever, don't comport with our values, our sort of framework for what it means to be a citizen.
Yeah, and I mean, rendering someone stateless is actually in violation of Article 15 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is always a document that I look towards kind of as a guiding light personally. And this was a huge debate in the discussion of Shamima Begum, who was a British national who's been rendered stateless by the United Kingdom because they removed her citizenship because they believed that she had a claim to a Bangladeshi citizenship due to her involvement as a bride of Daesh. I'm not sure if YouTube flags that word.
Say ISIS.
Okay, of ISIS, an ISIS bride. Bangladesh is not going to accept her either. So I believe she's still in Al-Hol in Syria. And it's a massive debate in Britain over what to do with this. Now she's a young adult. Now she's, I believe, 18 or 20. And like Armin said before, rendering her stateless because of this is devaluing the British citizenship itself. But they've recently, a court has ruled that she can come back to Britain to contest this decision, because they didn't even allow her to stand in court herself while revoking her citizenship. So she's not back there yet, but it'll be interesting to see how this develops. And that's not something I support in any shape.
And that's an interesting debate too, because often when you are treasonous to your country, or you fight against your country, actively go to war against the country of which you are a citizen, that has consequences. Now, whether those consequences are you are no longer a citizen, or you're put in jail, or you're shot, or whatever the ruling is on that, I think that that's really important to talk about in the discussion. I don't know how it's going to play out, but when you leave your country and then you actively work against them with a foreign army, that's going to have consequences. But that's part of the responsibility of citizenship.
Yeah, but I think the consequences should be jail, fines, court dates. It shouldn't be
Due
like
process.
Right.
no,
I'm
no,
yeah, go ahead.
no, but I think it shouldn't be like we're gonna take your citizenship away. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's like devaluing your citizenship. I think it should
Yeah.
be based. It should be just be punishment. Like, oh, your crime was really bad, but obviously, even though like, oh, you killed this many people, okay, you go to court, you get defense, and then you go to jail because of the crime you committed. Oh, but this crime was extra bad, so we're just gonna take your rights away from you. Like, I mean, what? Like, no. Um, yeah. No matter how bad the crime is, you're a citizen. You get to defend yourself. You lose in court. You get punished for it. Like, we can't just come and take your citizenship away.
Well,
That's
I
just
think your point is
that.
a good point, because that's what it means to be a citizen, is you have this ability because you are endowed with these rights. When you're not a citizen, you don't necessarily have the same rights. People can just deport you and say, we don't want you here anymore. So that this is the whole discussion of what it means to be a citizen of any country, which I think is, as Armin was saying, is really, it does sort of make the idea of citizenship less important, or devalues it if it's just arbitrary, like you were saying. Oh, bad crime, super bad crime.
Yeah, yeah. When people get afraid or angry, all of a sudden they throw away the rights and the values that the country has fought so much for. Even the crime, even if somebody committed, like I did, 4 or 5 genocides. Yeah, you still are a citizen. Even if you did that, you still go to court. You still are, you still get to defend yourself as a citizen, and then you go to jail forever. That doesn't just be like, oh, this was super duper bad. Let's take your citizenship away. Like, great job, because of now the entire meaning of what it mean, like the entire meaning of citizenship in your country just changed. Um, you just devalued. Now you gave the government the authority to go and take the rights away from certain citizens. And like, oh, people saying like, oh, but if you're super duper bad, you shouldn't have these rights. No, you don't understand what these rights mean. These rights are supposed to be there to people, because who gets to decide how bad these crimes are, right? You have to be able to. The court decides, okay? But if you don't even have your citizenship, there's not going to even be a due process, right? So if you say like, we're going to decide that this person is a really evil criminal, so forget the due process. If you set that precedent, then the mob, the people, at some point are going to decide that somebody's evil, and they even haven't committed the crime. So in this case, maybe they committed the crime, but if instead of having the citizens day in court, you're saying like, let's take their rights away so that they can't even defend themselves, but the precedent that you're setting is that eventually somebody will not even get a chance to defend themselves, and you're gonna give the government the opportunity for people not to even not to be able to even defend themselves, and maybe innocent people. Like, think about it. What you're doing, let's say you have person A and person B. Person A committed 4 or 5 genocides, and we know it for sure. And we're like, forget this person's rights. He doesn't deserve his rights. Let's take the rights away from him. No due process. You're not a citizen anymore. Okay, great. Now, what you have done is person B hasn't committed any crime, but everybody's convinced that they're committed the crime, and the government is like, you know what? We don't need evidence. We're gonna just take your citizenship away. What rights? You don't have any rights anymore. Ha! Like, good. How are you going to defend yourself? You're not a citizen anymore, right? So, again, don't devalue your citizenship because of one goddamn person, no matter how evil that person is or isn't.
We've triggered so many people in the UK in our live chat.
Well, honestly, I can understand what they're saying. Like, a lot of them don't want her back, but this sort of is adjacent to a discussion we had last week about the nature of law, right? It's law, it's a country of laws, not of men, right? And human beings have emotions, and they get angry, and they, want to make special case scenarios, but that's why you have laws. And that's why the law itself decides, and that's why you are given specific rights, so that people are supposedly equal under that. No matter how bad or good you are, you get a defense, and you have the right to do that, and then you are judged by those laws, and then you are, sentenced by them, not by people's emotions or by extrajudicial feelings. Or, I mean, I get it. I understand what they're saying. I'm not saying I don't understand the emotionality behind it, for sure. It's
And I mean, well, part of it has to do with, like, I think there's, because of how different people previously associated with ISIS, brides, have been treated upon return to countries like Norway and England. I think there's a feeling that they don't want her back because they do not believe that she actually will be.
All right. Susanna, audio got cut. For you too, Rivka?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to respond to Afshin's comment. Afshin saying, should there be a difference between naturalized versus born citizens? Nope, because then you're creating a 2-tier system, and you're basically again setting a precedent for your citizenship to mean something else, right? When you're citizen, you're a citizen, you're a citizen, you're a citizen, okay? Don't create a two-tier system like some, this is the Animal Farm kind of nightmare. All our citizens are equal, but some are more equal kind of situation. Okay, do not do that, guys. Do not do that. Samantha is also saying she doesn't deserve to be a citizen. Well, I'm sorry. If you're a citizen, then you're a citizen. Even if you don't deserve it, I'm sorry. It should be a one-way thing. Okay, too late. She's a citizen now. You shouldn't be able to take it away. You already, even if she doesn't deserve it, she has it now. You shouldn't be able to take it away. If you take it away, you're setting a very dangerous precedent. Okay. Anyways, I do think we should be able to go to the next news. Samantha is saying I totally disagree on Facebook. Okay. All right.
That's
Should
okay.
we? Okay. So wait. Let me just do one more comment. She went out there and has um, red fluid, I'm gonna say, for YouTube's sake. She went out there and she has red fluid on her hands due to her choice. She could once she saw what happening have rethought it, but no, she went for red fluid. Okay, you guys are missing the entire point. I told you that even if somebody committed 5 or 6 genocides, if you're a
You can say
citizen,
that, but you can't say
yeah,
BOD.
yeah. I can say genocide. I can't say red fluid.
Oh my god.
Even if she committed 5 or 6 genocides by herself, without any help, just by herself. Okay, she's a citizen. She gets a lawyer. She goes to court. She gets the guilty verdict. She goes to jail. Okay, doesn't matter how much red fluid she has on her hand. I mean, it does matter, but not. But you don't take people's citizenship away from them. Okay, you just that's how you defend what your country stands for.
But that's what citizenship is. It endows you with specific rights, and one of those rights in the most in democratic country like England is that you can defend yourself against charges brought against you. You have the right to do that, and you have the right to be, in the court, and see the charges, have them heard, and have a defense.
All right. We do need to go to the next news, though. Is it clapworthy?
Well, it's about what happened in France, but it's about like people's response.
Yes, it's clapworthy. Next news.
Okay, next news. Thousands gather in Paris to pay respects to murdered teacher Samuel Paty in Paris, France. A sea of signs proclaiming, pardon my French, a sea of signs proclaiming Je suis prof or Je suis Samuel, aka I am a teacher and I am Samuel, covered the Palais de République in Paris on Sunday, October 18th. The beheading of teacher Samuel Paty on the previous Friday sparked outrage across France and evoked memories of the 2015 massacre that occurred at the office of satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. Paty had been the target of online threats for showing caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad. France 24 interviewed a number of teachers at the event. Quote, as a kindergarten teacher, I came here to defend my mission to educate, to sharpen the critical thinking skills of my pupils, said an educator. This makes me want to teach even more. There will be a before and an after this horrible event, end quote.
So it's je suis. Je suis professeur. Je suis Samuel.
I knew you speak French, so I was like, why isn't Rivka saying this? Really quickly, we got a super sticker from Hindu Historian, and it's a little giggling pear. Thank you for the $5 Canadian.
Thank you,
our friend, and you're probably laughing at my terrible accent. But anyways, your commentary on this story.
Terrell is also saying we should cover this. Did you see the link I sent you about the French imam who stood up for Samuel, referring to him as martyr for free speech?
Yes, in fact, I have retweeted videos of that imam, and I understand that he's now getting threats for this. We can either
Ooh.
cover that next week on the news, or
I
that
could
could
do a
be
live
on
stream on
screen.
it, maybe. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
I'll
do a
send you
live
the
stream
link.
on it. Yeah, okay, good. But look at the comments here on this. So the top comment, even though it's not literally at the top because Facebook is stupid, is by Luciano saying ban all religions, they are dangerous. Well, I mean, if we're banning dangerous ideas, then Luciano, we should be banning you as well for
Hello.
your danger. Yeah, I mean, you have danger. You're okay. So Luciano. Your views are self-contradictory because you want to give the government the authority to ban the expression of ideas, and that is a dangerous idea. So you just ban yourself. You know they are dangerous. Yeah, your idea is also dangerous, Luciano. So based on your argument, you should be banned. Um, Izaura is saying the religion of peace strikes again. I'm so
Oh my
tired of
god.
this. God damn it! Like 10 years we're making the same goddamn joke. Yes, Islam is not peaceful. Okay, it's not. But can you guys come up with new material? Joseph is saying religion is so dangerous it can manipulate the mind of the weak, though not all, but a few. Is that really okay? Very original take. I hope they. What is this?
Reassess.
Things and not just protests. Well, yeah, they are reassessing things in France. We're gonna monitor exactly. I'm keeping my eye on France to see exactly how they're gonna respond to this because I have a lot of hope from at least the rhetoric from Macron has been really good. Calling it by the name, saying this is Islam, not apologizing for like the whole bull crap, saying like, if this was happening in some other Western countries, the leaders would be like, well, the cartoons were bad and we wouldn't support it.
Hmm.
However, we think like obviously this is a crime, this is a heinous crime, and we call it out. This is radicalism, but again, this is not Islam and all that crap. They're like, nope, Samuel is our goddamn hero. We're all Samuel. This not only he didn't do something wrong, he's like we all like he's our role model right now, and yeah, guess what? This is Islam. So the government in France is like, yeah, calling it out by its name. Not see, this is a very subtle area to be able to not promote bigotry against Muslims, to not, however, call it Islam as it is, right? Not to condemn the killing, but also condemn somehow the teacher for drawing the Muhammad. Be like, hey, but I wouldn't do it myself, and I wouldn't endorse it. However, the killing is bad. Nope, nope, nope. The teacher was a goddamn hero. That's what's up,
Hmm.
right? So I
Wait,
like that. I like that.
Rivka, can you please read this comment by Katie because I'm not trying to embarrass myself with my French again. You're muted.
Atheist saying Charlie Hebdo cartoons were projected on the Montpellier government building in France. So Montpellier, they projected the big Charlie Hebdo covers cartoons, but I yeah, and that was great, and I was really happy to see that, and I agree with you, Armin, and I think that it's really really important that the French are doing this. And also, I think it's something that a lot of people don't seem to understand in the West. I know a lot of fundamentalists, Muslim fundamentalists get this, and the French get this. France, part of the reason France is a target is France is the seat of the Enlightenment. France is where, granted, these things came from everywhere, but it's the seat of the Enlightenment. The idea about freedom from arbitrary religious authority, the scientific method, individualism, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, all of these things, or the seat is in France. And they've enshrined laissez-faire, the secularism, into their constitution. It's part of who they are. And I think it's really, really important that they are taking those reins back. And not that they ever left them, but there was this sort of kind of fell to the wayside, and now they're taking it back and they're saying no. this is the values of France are the values of free expression. You have the right to say what you think. If you don't, then all other human rights are really devalued. Because if you can't say what you think, whether someone likes it or not, then what do all these other rights mean? You have to be able to say what you think. And in doing that is how all these other things come about, all the other human rights and also all the other freedoms we cherish, all the expanses of modernity, technology, literature, art, all of this comes from a lot of it from the Enlightenment values. And those are and should be defended. And Macron and the rest of the people are in France who are doing this, bravo, bravo, because I'm so I can't even express my feeling of love and respect for France for doing this and for making such a strong stance against the destruction of Enlightenment values.
Yeah.
It's super important to hold fast to that.
Yeah, there was a quote from a good piece I read in the Guardian. I can't remember the author, but the title was "The Freedom to Offend is a Priceless Commodity," and I completely agree.
Keenan Malik,
yeah, thank you.
who's a fantastic, yeah, absolutely. And there was another quote, I think you may have even posted it from Ayan Hirsi Ali, is about how being afraid to give offense means that you don't see me as an equal. That there's like two categories of people. And I think that that's a really important thing to think about. So
Yeah, really quickly, thank you AGA for 10 Australian dollars. It's a super sticker of a little Shiba Inu with a heart. And
Thank you, AJ.
we love you. And then we got $5 from D. Thank you, D. She's saying, I wish Muslims would make cartoons of atheists. A cartoon war sounds awesome. I fully am behind this. In fact, the other day on my Twitter, I posted, how would you blaspheme against atheism? Not atheists, because people were talking about, do Hitchens, do Dawkins, blah, blah, blah. That's an individual. That's too easy. How would you blaspheme atheism? So I got a lot of creative responses. I'm still thinking about it.
And actually I agree with D, because when Muslims are making cartoons and expressing themselves in that way, it changes a lot of the game, right? Rather than killing people for expressing ideas, they're able to use humor or political cartoons or whatever. Then all of a sudden it seems that they're coming to the table in a different way.
Yeah, and be offensive and see how it's met.
I think the best ones I've seen, not blaspheming, but jokes against atheists. I think the ones that were actually funny were about somebody telling an atheist that they're in love and them not believing it, asking for evidence. Like you can't see. Hey, that's it's funny, I guess.
That is
That's
funny.
so.
Oh my gosh, I love
they could
that.
do that. Yes, cartoon words.
Is
Imagine
this,
if
is this
everything was cartoon.
testable? What are the
Yeah, is it test? Is it how do I verify this? Is it repeatable? Is it peer reviewed?
yeah, can I replicate this?
Yeah. Yeah, but imagine if if all words were replaced by cartoon words, wouldn't the world be a lot better?
I'd be
Like,
so into that.
Yeah. Can I clap for the next news?
Yes.
Next news.
Okay, next news. American televangelist Frank Amedia warned his viewers that if Trump loses the election, folks are going to marry cows and have, quote, perverse sex with them. He stated, quote, this is about morality. This is about same-sex marriage not being approved and blessed in this country. This is not about us changing genders into 5 or 6 different meanings now. How far do they want us to go? Wait until animalism becomes acceptable and someone can marry a cow and have perverse sex with them. You think I'm laughing? That's what's going to come. End quote. He also urged his audience to pray to shift the elections on both the state and federal level. So we have a video for this one.
Oh yeah.
You already know this is going to be good.
Yeah, guys. Okay, let's watch. This is only 2 minutes. Let's. Wait, I need to. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna share the audio. That means if you Susanna or Rivka speak, there's gonna be echo. So wait for the video to finish. Come on.
Beloved, keep pushing. You shall see. I believe it with all my heart. I declare it according to the word of God. I believe it by what he's already done and what he's going to do. God has heard the prayer of repentance from this nation and God's people. He told us the other night when we were praying, 5 plus 5, well, that's 10. That's the number of the kingdom. And he said, as I declared out, he said, if we just add 5 percentage points to every state, to every senator, and to the president, and take away 5 from the opposition, from those who are not pro-life, who are not lined up with the kingdom of God, that's 10. 10 is the fullness of God. 5 plus 5. We declared it over Lindsey Graham that they were saying was tilting, even and even. And the very next day, a poll came out and said he had moved up 6% overnight. 6% had happened. Well, I believe it's going to 10. We need to pray it for the president. Beloved, if just 5% of people who believe in Jesus Christ who have not been voting will go out and vote, it's over with. Tell your brethren, tell your sisters, convict people in the Holy Spirit. Tell them this is about life. How can you go before God and say, well, I didn't know what to do, so I did nothing? That too is not acceptable for God when we can do something. This is about morality. This is about same-sex marriage not being approved and blessed in this country. This is not about us changing genders into 5 and 6 different meanings now. Even sexual preference has all of a sudden been changed in the dictionary to where it's offensive. How far do they want us to go? Wait until animalism becomes acceptable and somebody can marry a cow and have perverse sex with them. You think I'm laughing? That's what's going to come. Those kind of things. And I know I'll be mocked, and I know that the Huffington Post and others will pick this up and run with it. But who could believe we'd be where we're at now? That kind of stuff has no end to it. It will come because somebody will say it's their right.
All right.
Well, firstly, he obviously has some kind of beef with cows. And what happens between
I'm so
two
mad.
adult consenting cows is no one's business.
You know,
It's
even
the
though
dark side of the moo. Dark side of the moo.
even though you said these jokes before the show, it's still so good. Oh my gosh. I mean, my main commentary on this is that the fact that he calls it animalism, whereas like it's bestiality, dude.
Yeah,
Get
what
your
does that mean?
terminology right. Animalism, it makes me think of animism. First of all.
Well, he also said you got to convict people in the name of God, which I thought was a very interesting choice of words. Convict people in the name of God. You know, and I think it's interesting. Well, someone's going to say it's their right. Well, that's what a lot of religious people do all the time. It's my right to discriminate. It's my right to have 4 wives. It's my right not to, allow women to come into this restaurant. It's my right. So it's just very interesting that, that was the term that he used. And the thing is, I mean, those things are against the law. So just stop it, dude. He's just trying to scare people with some weird, crazy, utterly ridiculous bull shit.
I love
I mean,
you.
just to make it clear for people who don't understand, who are dumb enough to buy this person's argument, because I know there is at least some people that might be watching to be like, well, what you guys are just making fun of him, but what do you have against, do you have any arguments against him? Um, Adults, they're consenting adults, okay, and cows cannot give consent to human beings. Okay, so just putting it out there.
I'm like, it's zoophilia or bestiality. Get your terminology right, my guy.
Animalism reminds me of Mortal Kombat for some reason. When you turn
Huh.
into an animal and you finish somebody, that was called animalism. That's what I got. It was nostalgic when I said that. Okay, so this top comment is saying, "Wow, the religious really believe these things. The connection between ignorance and religion can't be more obvious." Shobham is the second comment. He's saying the amount of Hindus that will get triggered if this happens will be unreal. I don't. I don't know. Would they get triggered? Or would be like, oh, we love Americans. They're really loving their cows over there. Wouldn't that be like?
I don't know. I did see it.
I'm gonna go to, if I want to be worshipped, I'm gonna go to America and move.
What the hell? What the hell? Okay. Let me see.
Wait. Kill a W dog. It would be cow scent.
You guys are dad jokes all around.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Oh yeah, actually you're right. Hindu historian has a very good point. Zoophilia is the philia, bestiality is the act, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
actually zoophilia shouldn't be criminalized, it should be treated.
Yes.
Right? It's the action that needs to be criminalized, not the disease. Not the mental. We shouldn't demonize people for their mental disease. You should help sympathize with them and treat them.
Animalism is actually behavior that's characteristic of animals, though, particularly being physical. And then there's also a second definition of like religious worship of or concerning animals. So it's kind of, but it's not what he's actually saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I like how Susanna has control over the comments that gets highlighted. It's good that it's not just me anymore. All right, so can I do clap for the next
No.
news? No. Next news.
Okay, next news. Texas social workers can now turn away LGBTQ and disabled clients in the state of Texas of the United States of America. The Texas Board of Social Work Examiners unanimously voted to change a section of its code of conduct following a recommendation from Republican Governor Greg Abbott to remove anti discrimination protections for sexual orientation, gender identity, and disability. According to the Associated Press, Abbott's office said this change was suggested because the board's non discrimination clause went beyond the state legislature's policy on social work. Equality Texas released a joint statement alongside six other organizations stating, quote, the social workers code of conduct previously helped ensure ethical treatment of all clients and prevented bias-motivated misconduct. Now, with the removal of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression from the code, LGBTQ folks who experience discrimination could face more obstacles for getting the help they need, end quote.
I think it's so crazy that he said it went beyond that because, rights and constitutional protections and equality and all that thing, it's a floor, not a ceiling. So, and then this also goes back to the comment I made about the guy saying it's our right. Well, now people may be saying, well, it's my right to discriminate against people because of, Magic's guy friend. Deeply held beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay, can somebody explain to me how is this any different from having normalizing turning people away from for their skin color? Like, how is it any different? Like, can
It's
Steelman maybe
not.
decide and huh?
Well, I think culturally, people aren't doing that anymore. That's just, we don't do that anymore. The culture's moved beyond that. But this is the new thing that people think it's okay to do that. I mean, 150, 200 years ago, they were saying that they could treat black people differently because it said in the Bible and the tribes of Ham and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, well, sorry, we've just sort of reformed our thought process, and now we've had, John Brown Voltaire come along and make it known that we don't do those things anymore. But now we have this whole religious basis for discrimination. It's exactly the same. If you don't like someone who's gay, you don't have to like them. But what you can't do under the, establishment clause is treat them differently or discriminate against, treat them differently under the law or, or discriminate against them.
Even in private, you can't. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so it's not just culture. It's illegal right now in the United States for not just the government, not just the law, but a private company cannot say, sorry, we don't serve black people here. That's illegal in the United States, okay? And given how much constitutional lawyers and judges come up with, talk about the spirit of the law, right? And what this law is supposed to mean as a whole. Okay, so if based on the spirit of that law, based on that, how is this not automatically make them conclude that if it's illegal for somebody to discriminate based on some people based on their biological attributes, I'm getting angry, biological attributes, which is their skin color, so it follows that you cannot discriminate against them even in private, not just the law, not just the government, even private companies. They should follow that you shouldn't be able to discriminate against them anywhere. If you can't do it in a restaurant, you shouldn't be able to do it in the hospital either. No doctor should be able to do that. To say sorry, we don't treat gay people here. That should be illegal. It should follow. It should follow right out from that. It's the spirit of that law.
It's more than the spirit of that law. If you think about the decision in Oberfell, which allowed same-sex marriage, it's an establishment clause decision which says that these people are equal under the law, and by refusing to give them the same state given benefits of marriage, because the state confers certain benefits on people if they're married. All right. So by refusing to give it to them, you've denied them equal treatment under the law. So that right there tells you that it's not just the spirit, it's actually a decision.
Let me read this top comment saying, Adriana is saying they have the personal liberty to turn them away, but if they do, we should be questioning whether they should be having a license. If their personal views could professional judgment. Personally, I don't think anyone that allows religious views to get in the way of professional conduct should be anywhere near patients and the vulnerable. Well, I would argue that the first part it is right now their personal liberty. It should stop being their personal liberty. We should make that illegal. I think. Given that I think everybody here at least agrees that people shouldn't have the personal liberty to say sorry, we don't serve black people here. There's no difference between that and saying sorry, we don't treat gay people here. Okay, and yeah, it is just because something is a liberty, that doesn't mean that liberty cannot be taken away. And I think this liberty should be taken away.
I would also just like to highlight that it's not just the LGBTQ community, is also people with disabilities. And I don't want that to be left out of the picture either. Yeah, it's insane. What kind of justification is, oh, this goes above state legislator? What?
Well, I mean, ordinarily most professions, whether they're licensed professionals like a licensed social worker or physicians or nurses or all kinds of professions that are particularly if they're in the service profession, whether it's medical or sociological, or things like this, they all usually have their own code of conduct, which is for people who are in this profession, regardless of whether the state has issued a code of conduct for them. You know, there's lots and lots of professions. That's a normal and pretty common thing to have an ethical code of conduct for people within a profession, even if it's not part of the licensure procedure by the state. So I think it's really interesting that they're doing that. And then also, like I said, you know, those sort of things, I mean, rights and non-discriminatory things and constitutional protections, they're not a floor, or they're a floor rather, not a ceiling. So you can't give people more. It's just part of this lie that somehow that seems to be spread, that somehow people who are gay or people who are disabled or people who are different want something more. No, they want equality. They don't want more. The people who have the equality or people who have these rights have the more. These folks just want what other people have, which is equality before the law and to be able to be treated like a human being and not discriminated against.
Should I go to next news? Can I clap? Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Next news.
Next news. Pope Francis voices support for same-sex civil unions. In the Vatican City of the Vatican, my favorite theocracy. Just kidding. In remarks revealed in the recently released documentary film Francesco, Pope Francis expressed support for same-sex civil unions. He reiterated that he stood up for his view that gay people are children of God and said, quote, if we have to create a civil union law, what we have to do is create a civil union law. That way they are legally covered. However, Francis's opposition to gay marriage within the church remains absolute. The Pope also stated, quote, homosexuals have a right to be part of the family. They're children of God and have a right to a family. No one should be thrown out or made to feel miserable because of it. End quote. Church teaching does not consider being gay to be a sin, but it does consider homosexual acts as, quote, intrinsically disordered, and by extension holds that as homosexual orientation is objectively disordered.
All right, I want to say something really quick, okay?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Everybody who is congratulating the Pope for like, yay, great, this is great news. The Pope, this is good news, but screw the Pope and screw him extra hard for saying saying civil union instead of marriage. Technically, you went like being a homophobic bigot to just a less homophobic bigot, because you technically are saying that they don't deserve marriage, right?
Mhm,
That's what you're saying, right? Like, hey, well, look at us, we're making progress. Oh yeah, you just became slightly less bigoted than before, and you don't deserve congratulations for that at all, because you're still a effing bigot. The people who pressured the Catholic Church and your religion and your dogma to get you to this position, this progress is progress that you deserve zero credit for, and all the people that normalize it enough for you to eventually catch up. You're a couple of decades behind the civilized world, but this is progress that you deserve zero credit for. And yeah, congratulations to those people, not to you. Congratulations to those people who forced you here, and screw you. And your entire church needs to end. We need to tear down your church and turn it into a museum. Okay, your entire organization, all of your church need to crumble. Everything you stand for needs to end. You deserve zero credit for this, and nobody should be thanking you. Anyways, that was my take.
I also want to point out, while he's saying they're children of God and they should be able to have rights and they should be able to be part of the family, he means the family of the state that gives these rights to people, because then in the next sentence he says they're fundamentally disordered, right? Because he said the quote that you read where he said It's not homosexual people, it's the act. The church is against it, and that is in and of itself, fundamentally disordered.
Yeah.
And it's interesting though, in the sense that marriage used to be exclusively the control of the church or religions, for if we're talking Catholic Church, Europe, it was exclusively the control of the church. The state didn't have anything to do with it. Now the state's involved in marriage by issuing licenses, giving tax breaks, or things to do with inheritance. All of that is now onto the state. So he's basically just saying, okay, there's two sides of marriage. There's state stuff and there's church stuff. And while we think you're children of God, you're still disordered
Mm-hmm.
under our, worldview.
Yeah. He's previously said, that they have a right to a family, before adding that does not mean approving of homosexual acts, not in the least. So it's also like to see celebrities like fawning over this, like Ellen DeGeneres was praising the Pope. For you don't know, like Ellen DeGeneres is a lesbian icon. So it drives me crazy because this completely ignores the fact that, like, okay, yeah, one, you're clearly saying like separate but not equal, and that argument of like civil unions versus marriage was exactly the first thing that my mom said to me when I came out to her, is like, why do you have to take marriage from us? So that was like triggering just for me personally. And also, like, to see the American media like just fall over themselves to praise this drives me crazy, because like the Catholic Church, schools, and care providers actively discriminate against the LGBTQ community in America and around the world to this day. Frequently, teachers are constantly being fired as soon as the diocese or administrators find out that they are married to a person of the same sex. So people want to celebrate this statement, which people are now disputing what the legitimacy of this clip that was featured, where it came from, if it came from. There's all this dispute about even the clip itself and the origin of this clip, like, when the fact remains that the Catholic Church in its extensions around the world continues to treat the LGBT community with systemic discrimination. Also, like, it's so funny to me because Pope Francis has this history of making these statements kind of off the cuff, more loose, that are more progressive, coming from the Catholic Church, and in seemingly in contradiction with the catechism of the Catholic Church. And then so he makes these kind of like loose statements, and then as a ex-Catholic, I get to go watch the College of Cardinals and Bishops go run behind him to go explain exactly why what he says is not in contradiction with Catholic dogma. And that's exactly what's happening here.
I want to respond to Murtad Skeptic saying it's good because Murtad Skeptic is giving us a Steelman. Murtad, he or she saying, if he wanted to change it and make progress, would he be able to do it at all at once? To Steelman him, he could be trying to fit in progress that would be digestible to the followers. Here's a progress he could make. He could be like, screw the church, screw the Catholic doctrine, I'm quitting. Anybody that is following this church is a moron. And to even label themselves as Catholic, you all should be ashamed of yourself to even be following me at all. I'm out of here. You should be too. That's how you make progress, okay? And this whole organization that I represented needs to end. The fact that half of us are not in jail is the only sign of miracle that I've ever seen in my life. Every other miracle seems to be fake. That's how you make progress, okay? There's nothing stopping him from doing that. That's the only way that, yeah, so you don't make, what's stopping him from doing that other than him endorsing organization that it seems its main job is right now to protect people who are abusing children. So, yeah, no, I don't give him that at all, okay? But but it's good. Oh, yeah. My advice to any Catholic: yes, thank you, Samantha. Leave. Exactly, I agree with that. Jeremy is saying civil union dot dot dot, but not marriage dot dot dot. Too little and far too late. We've already won recognition against all your opposition. Don't try and pretend you're on our side now. That you've soundly lost the fight. Get the F out of here with your BS. Exactly, I agree with Jeremy. And the fact that like, oh, the Catholic Church is against him, so that he has to make small progress. Well, the fact that the Catholic Church is against him, and like the fact that you have to push against this, and the fact that this is something that you need to fight, like the Catholic doctrine is the barrier. That is by itself shows that you have to throw at the entire system. You have to throw at this entire dogma. Okay? You don't play around. You don't try to make small changes again, and something that has historically been in a direct opposition of all the values that you stand for, and then keep tapping yourself on the back because after many years of denying people's rights, now you're like slightly less denying people's rights, slightly less. No, your everything about you needs to end, and there's no negotiation about that. Everything about what you stand for needs to end. Your entire organization, your entire dogma, your entire cult needs to collapse. But go on.
It was super funny. Someone, I can't remember, on Twitter said like, "Oh, the Pope endorses civil unions. Welcome to the 90s." Yeah.
Rivka.
People just want to love him because he's like their hippie pope or something. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I just feel like, we had the previous pope who also quit.
Benedict.
The youth, the bad guys, German N
Oh, yes.
pope.
Yes.
And now we have the hippie pope. But I remember he was the first pope that's like drawn a pension, the first pope who quit, because usually it's a lifetime appointment.
Not the first, but in several hundred years, yes.
Right, yeah. And I remember Bill Maher made a joke that said, if the pope can quit, you can too, about leaving Catholicism, I mean, I get what you're saying, Armin, about how it needs to end, but I also understand what Murtad Skeptic is saying, because a lot of organizations, like massive institutions that are so entrenched, do try to make these baby steps because they feel like, I'm not agreeing with it, but I understand the idea of sort of slow change, or like reforming the doctrine. It's hard to see that you're in the middle of a reform when it's happening until after it happens.
If you are being held hostage by somebody who abducted you and is torturing you, okay, and all of a sudden you're locked in his basement, and one day you get yourself free, you don't go and like, let me go sit down with him and tell him why he should be torturing me a little bit less. You run for the door and you call the cops, okay?
If you're locked in the basement and then he lets you go up into the landing.
Yeah.
Right, I get it. I'm not saying that, but I understand the thought process perhaps, and why somebody might. But the thing is, I don't even think it's that, because it sounds like he wants to just have it both ways, because he's already said, well, they're fundamentally disordered. So that in and of itself tells you exactly what he actually thinks.
Right. I mean, that's the doctrine. Yeah, and his position of the marriage within the church is absolute. That's not going to change. So yeah, do you guys have any other commentary?
No. Can we clap for the next news?
It's. I mean, I guess.
It's not that dark. We're not clapping only for stuff that is like
dark,
morbid, dark, or like people
really sad.
Die. Sad. Next news.
Okay, next news. Same-sex marriage in the presence of a Sikh holy book sparks anger in Sacramento, California, and Punjab, India. taking, quote, strong notice of the homosexual marriage conducted in the presence of the Sikh holy book, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, in Sacramento, California last month, a high-ranking Sikh holy man has directed for the holy book to be removed from the care of the local clergymen who conducted the ceremony. Earlier, the North American Sikhs were directed to trace the person who completed the religious customs in this marriage between the two men. The clergyman who performed the, quote, unethical ceremony has also been summoned to Akal Takht, a Sikh high holy site and political institution in Punjab, India, to receive chastisement.
Where are all the people who keep saying, Sikhism seems to be the good religion. We like Sikhism.
I was just about to say that. Oh, looks like they're not feeding people now. They're chastising people for giving equality.
It seems like homophobia seems to be a central theme among many, almost all the religions, right? Like, where are the people like, hey, Sikhism, where are they? Are they here in the live chat? I want to see them.
Well, I just want to say how awesome these dudes look in their outfits. In the picture, they look awesome.
This is a great couple.
Yeah, I mean they're attractive, they're colorful, their wedding regalia is amazing. But what I find interesting is it's not just that he did it; it's that the book was in the presence of it.
Yeah, that's what
it's like somehow it's going to defile the book.
Yeah, so I actually want to give a shout out to Binary Skeptic, because Binary Skeptic helped me write this news, because the actual article uses lots of very specific Sikh terminology that I didn't understand, and he helped explain to me some of the issues behind this. So for this holy book, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, it's treated like the living guru. Like, if you are given possession of this book in your role as a local clergyman, there's a specific word for it that I'm asarbjit. You have to have an entire room for it just in your house. Like, it has to have its own room. It is treated like a living being. And part of this is that when you're performing the ceremony, you are taking on the role. You are becoming the guru himself. It kind of reminds me how, like, when performing the Eucharist, like, the priest is supposed to be taking on the role of Jesus himself and granting this to you. So, the priest has to take on the identity of the book, since the book is seen as the living guru. And they treat it so specially that it has to be cleansed every single night, like spiritually cleansed. You are only allowed, you have to always hold it over your head, even in travel. So I was reading the story, the guy who performs these ceremonies was already getting in trouble because he would perform these ceremonies, destination Sikh weddings, and not properly travel with the book constantly over his head. And apparently it's a huge book that's really heavy, that, like, even carrying it down a block over your head would be difficult. So this guy has gotten in huge trouble for this. I found a letter that I can't read because it's in a different language, where like 10 different organizations or local congregations have written a letter condemning him for this, and he has to go all the way. He has to go all the way back to India to receive, like, penance and chastisement.
What is he going to?
I don't know, because I only have, like, Catholic language for this, so I think there is the possibility of him being, like, disrobed, basically, for my Catholic terminology, lack of a better word. But I was asking him, because Binary Skeptic is our resident ex-Sikh, ex-Sikh atheist. And I was like, so what is the Sikh stance on homosexuality? Like, obviously they didn't approve of this marriage. Like, this happening in the presence of this book is seen as unethical and, like, dirty. Like, they removed the book from the care of this clergyman to be, like, cleansed. So technically he was saying, so the book doesn't actually say anything against homosexuality, but kind of the main body of Sikhs has declared that homosexuality is not allowed in Sikhism many years ago. So kind of the political body of clergymen has condemned it. Their argument was that the book does not condone homosexuality, but that it doesn't condemn it either. And he was kind of saying, like, oh, if you go to Punjab, like, homosexuality is seen as derogatory. So there's definitely a big influence from just the culture that's already originating from Punjab, India. But I wanted to highlight it because specifically people are always lifting up Sikhism as kind of this idealized religion. And I thought that this needed to be highlighted.
Oh, just a quick. Somebody's saying, I wish your shows had like Persian subtitles. Yeah, that's a lot of money. We don't have that's not the kind of money we have here. Okay, if we wanted to get these videos subtitled, but hey, you could become a patron. If we hit 500 patrons, we're gonna translate our videos into Arabic and Persian and stuff like that. Malay,
or you can go check out our Persian channel called
Jumhuriye Bi Khodayan. Yeah, but okay, well, let's get back to the topic. I wanted to mention to people that there is absolutely zero contradiction between celebrating these two dudes, okay, and enjoying their clothes and celebrating their life and their happiness, and enjoying and celebrating and endorsing and loving all other Sikh people and everything good that they do. There is absolutely zero contradiction between doing that and enjoying these people's love and their happiness. There's zero contradiction between that and taking a giant steaming pile of crap on Sikhism as a whole and as a religion. You could do both of those things and you're not contradicting yourself. You're not. You could love Sikh people and you could love their happiness. You could love their traditions. You could love their happiness and you could celebrate the good things they do. And at the same time think that the religion is horse crap that needs to end and everything they believe in is absolutely ridiculous and nonsense. There's no contradiction there. And if you think there's a contradiction, that's because you haven't been subscribing to Atheist Republic for a while, so you're a moron, but there's a cure for that. You can stop being a moron by subscribing to Atheist Republic, and we keep telling you these things, and then you eventually, by consuming our content over periods of months, you go from being a moron to less of a moron, and then not moron at all. Let me actually highlight this comment here. Matt is saying, yay, we learned that Sikh religion is just as effed up and stupid as the rest. Is anyone here surprised? Well, technically, no two ideas could be as stupid as each other, but I allow this. But yeah. Are we going... Did anybody want to add anything to this? Or should we go to the... Oh no, next news.
Final statement is
not clappable.
Yeah, not clappable. If you find any other good Sikh news, send it my way because I want to highlight Sikhism more.
Oh, James is saying, so should I go subscribe on Patreon and unsubscribe here? No. Here is where you consume our content. Patreon is where you support us, okay? Or you could be a member here on YouTube as well, okay? But again, don't become a patron. Patreon is where you support us financially and get access to Patreon exclusive content. But do not support us financially if you're struggling financially, okay? Keep your money to yourself if you're struggling. But if you're not, consider supporting us. Link to our Patreon is in the description. Or you can become a YouTube member. That gets you exclusive content as well. If you want to join as a YouTube member, right next to the subscribe button, there's a join button. You could join as a YouTube member. Either one works, whatever is more convenient for you. Right. So let me actually close this here. Oh, actually, let me tell you the difference. If you become a patron, that's better for us because we keep more of the money. But if you become a YouTube member, that's better for you because you're going to be shown as a YouTube member and we get to see your comments more. and you get access to emotes. The emotes that people see that they're posting here, like me yelling or Susanna licking the Quran, you get access to those. So if you want access to emotes and if you want your comments to show up in different colors for us to see them, be a YouTube member. But if you want Atheist Republic to get a higher percentage of your support, then you could become a patron. Both of them will give you access to Patreon exclusive content. Anyways, next news.
Okay, next news. James Randi, magician, skeptic, and paranormal debunker, dies at 92. In the U.S., James Ramsey, sorry, James Randi, the famed magician known as the Amazing Randi, and scientific investigator who exposed fraudulent and paranormal and occult occurrences, passed away at the age of 92. The James Randi Foundation announced his passing from age-related causes on Tuesday, October 20th. Born Randall James Hamilton Zinge in 1928, Randi co-founded the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry and founded the James Randi Educational Foundation, organizations dedicated to the promotion of scientific inquiry and education, critical thinking, reasoning, and the debunking of pseudoscientific claims. Randi was survived by his husband, Devi Orangel Pena Artegia, and will be remembered as a legend of the skeptical movement.
I hope most people know what the legend this man was. This guy had exposed so much woo stupidity and so many like superstitious cons. Like this guy was huge. This guy was over the news. So many people were exposed out of their cons, out of taking money. Like like this guy was one of the leading figures to show how stupid homeopathy was. They had this undercover like with microphones, and I don't know, did you guys see that documentary when they went inside the church when they were tricking people into think that they're doing miracles and they expose them? He like the people that were a lot of people believe that they were bending spoons with their eyes. He exposed them. Like it was there was an era where this guy is like he was like the hero of all the people that were of the skeptic community, right? When the skeptic community wasn't insane, this guy was like their hero, right? And he deservedly so. Like he did so much to make actually exposing the woo, I don't know, I'm gonna say the woo fuckery of a lot of these organizations. He didn't just expose them, he made their exposing of them so entertaining. um, and his I saw he there was a documentary about him, and I was like he himself like was there when they were showing the documentary, so I got to watch the documentary of James Randi with James Randi himself, so I got to do that. That was so much fun. But yeah, guys, like I wish more people knew him. He's been highlighted in so many different books, even in The Magic of Reality by Richard Dawkins. There's an image of him in that book. Oh my God, where is that? Where is my book? But what do you guys know about him? Like, were you familiar with him? But do you guys know his work? I'm gonna go find that book.
I was familiar with him. Not unfortunately, I never got to meet him like other people did, but I am familiar with his, like, debunking um, woo, and with him being such, sort of a venerated figure amongst the skeptics, and what an amazing, interesting guy he was, and the magic stuff too. I remember about that. Probably that was my introduction to it. I think I knew about the magic stuff before, the magician stuff, before I knew about any of the other
This is
stuff.
Richard Dawkins' The Magic of Reality. Really good book. Go get it. And this is James Randi,
Oh, it's so cute.
otherwise known as the Amazing Randy. And oh, actually, we didn't mention the most famous thing about him. Thank you guys for in the live chat for reminding me. Who was this? Where is it? The person, the $1 million. I saw somebody highlighting that.
Oh, he had one
Yeah, there
million
it goes.
dollars put aside to anyone who could prove anything paranormal. So that was a big part of what his
Yeah.
organizations did, was provide funding for people who claimed to have supernatural powers, psychic abilities, and all sorts of fraudulent claims to come forward. And he's like, awesome, let's test this. And he would put their claims through the scientific method. And it was a TV show for some time. And I think that's an amazing way to promote the scientific method. And he will I used to watch his videos in my neuroscience classes that I taught. We would show his work, and to help promote the idea of the scientific method. And he'll be missed. And also, reading these obituaries of him was how I discovered that he was gay. I didn't actually know that. Um, so that was kind of interesting to me. Like, I don't know, maybe that's me being a little bit tribal. But I'm like, yay, my
Yeah, yeah.
people.
You're, okay, actually, the documentary that I watched of him when he was there, um, there was one of the first things that he did that more people know about this $1 million challenge that he has there for anybody to come just collect the $1 million, if they could prove to a series of judges that anything paranormal, and a lot of people tried. Nobody managed to collect that $1 million. Okay. Because they provided zero proof that what they were doing was actually paranormal, right?
Mhm.
Which was such an effective way of showing that this is all bullcrap. But one of the first things he did against paranormal before, like after, like first he was a magician, but then he got interested in going after paranormal crap. Was he had this? I think it was in India. I think he was in India, but I'm not sure. But there was this person that he turned into a guru, okay, for people to come and follow him as a spiritual leader, to show them how easy it is to fake this crap. And he gained a following, and people started worshiping him. People started believing that he could do miracles. And then they exposed to the whole people, to this following, that this was a cult, that you all been duped. Even after they told them, some of them didn't believe. They still feel like, no, you're a good, no, you're our spiritual leader. But
I remember that now that
yeah,
you're bringing this up. Yeah, it was amazing.
that was so amazing. Go watch this documentary. That was in the documentary, and he kept telling them like, "No, guys, this was all a scam." And people who were following this guru, they couldn't believe that this is a scam, right? But the whole point was like, look how easy it is to fool you people. Like all of this was a
Mhm.
scam. And guess what? You're saying he's gay. That person that was the fake guru is the person that he fell in love with. So the person that he turned into a guru,
Oh,
and they lived with each other ever since that first project.
oh.
They until the very end they were together. Yeah. By the way, I have a video with James Ramsey that I didn't. I saw a lot of people posting their pictures with James Ramsey, and I wanted to share my video with him because he got me to tie his hands, right? And I was like, nah, maybe that's like using his death to bring like, hey, look at me, kind of situation. So, what do you guys policy on that? Because I was so tempted. Like, I saw people sharing their pictures with James Ramsey. I was like, oh, I want to share my video with him, but I felt like that's not good.
I
I'm
don't think
just,
so, Armin. I mean, that's the thing. When people die, you want to remember them, and you have a personal memory of him, and it brings him to life for other people, and it's a way to honor him and to, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, it's like when you people tell stories about the person at a funeral, or no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
oh really? Okay, should I show it to you guys now, or I
I'm
guess I can
fine with
find it.
it.
Hold on. No, it's okay. I'll just share it. Just follow me on my own personal Facebook. Link in the description. I'm gonna find it later, and I'm gonna share my video with him. Basically, what happened was he was doing a magic trick, and what happened was that he asked me to tie his hand so he could show everybody how he's gonna get out of it. But anyways,
Mhm.
I got to tie him down, so that was cool. All right. Oh yeah, Rivka. Hold on. Let me unmute you. Oh no.
No, I'm just saying I gotta go check on my dog. I'll be
Oh,
right
yeah.
back.
Yeah, okay, no worries. All right, so that was anything we need to highlight in the comment section,
Uh,
Susie?
I don't think so. Just, like, may his undying, impetus for rationality, live on through us.
You know, a lot of people I saw in the live chat saying that, oh, I didn't know about him, but now I'm gonna go learn about him.
There's a treasure trove on YouTube. Do a deep
Yeah,
dive.
there's so much. You will not be disappointed. You will be
No.
entertained. If you like people, if you like your skepticism with a dose of entertainment and watching other people's nonsense getting taken down in the most interesting way, you're not gonna get disappointed. Go look for James Ramsey on YouTube. There's so much good stuff
Yeah,
there.
and he was so kind and funny.
Yeah, he was. He was very sweet. Can I do clapping for the next news or no? Hold on, let me
Um,
remove. Let me. Yeah, there we go.
yeah.
Yeah. Next news.
Okay, next news. Indian Muslim cop suspended for keeping a beard. In Uttar
What?
Pradesh, India, a Muslim policeman of Uttar Pradesh has been suspended for violating dress code norms by keeping a beard without a superior's permission. But the officer, um, in Instar Ali, claims that his submission for permission has been pending with the authorities since November of 2019, and that the beard was never a problem in his previous 25 years of service. The police dress code manuals state that apart from those belonging to the Sikh community, other police personnel cannot keep a beard without permission. The Bagpat police released a statement saying Instar Ali was earlier served with a notice for not following uniform protocol and trimming a beard. Despite this, Ali continued to flout dress code norms without any permission from the concerned authorities. End quote. The Print India reached out to his superiors to ask why Ali's plea was pending, but were informed that they were not available for comment.
I mean, look at this epic beard. What? Why would you have? Look at this. Look at the colors.
Is
You
it
know,
is it
Glory.
henna'd? Did he henna it? It looks like he henna'd his beard, huh? With the red, or I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty epic. But it looks like it's henna though. But anyways,
So the understanding is that this is actually because he's a Muslim. Is that the understanding? But they're just using his beard as an excuse. Is that the accusation here?
basically, I mean, this is Uttar Pradesh. Like, it's,
Not very friendly to Muslims.
that would be an understatement.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um. Hmm. So, but are we gonna? Yeah. I mean, it does seem like it. We could be proven wrong. Let's always, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Always be skeptical. Always be skeptical. Even if it seems like, hey, this is likely like we're anti-Muslim bigotry, we're anti-Hindutva nationalism, we're anti whatever crap Uttar Pradesh seems to be following as a value system. We're and we love to check and take giant dumps on Hindutva bigotry. We enjoy that. We do that as our just for the entertainment value of it. So, but don't let the enjoyment out of calling out Hindutva bigotry take away your skepticism. Always be like, maybe it was something else. Maybe this guy is a douche. I don't know. Maybe he's like, people keep telling him that this is how you're supposed to behave. This is like this is because he's not a Muslim, and there's a small degree, not very high. Given Occam's razor suggests that they have a problem because he's a Muslim. Okay, but always leave some degree of skepticism. We got a major super chat. Jesus Christ, we got a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, D. Susanna, you want to read this?
Sure. D. Bordeaux is saying, nope, I said that wrong. Never mind, I take it back. My French. Anyways, D.
Rivka.
R comes
Yep.
after. It looks like D. Boudreaux. Like it's
Wow.
Boudr. You said
Yep.
Bor. Anyways, she said that I joined American Atheists at 18 or 19 and I'm now 49. I found Freedom from Religion Foundation, CFI, along the way, but you guys are international and oh so helpful. Thank you for all you do. Things
Aw.
are getting better. And then a heart.
Thank
Aw.
you, Dee. That means
Thank
a
you,
lot to
D.
us.
That's a huge super chat. Thank you so much, D.
Oh,
That
and
was
sorry
yeah.
for butchering your name. I'm gonna blame my dyslexia.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
I'm
sure
gonna
she
put it
doesn't
on the
mind.
dyslexia. um, yeah. So I mean, for those who are not aware, Uttar Pradesh is basically like people call it like the mini Hindu Rashtra. Meaning like this is kind of an example of how India could become if the BJP party continues to gain more and more power. Um, like, technically, this officer was given notice about his violation. He still didn't follow it. So, he's culpable in that regard. However, he says that he tried to go through the proper process. He wasn't allowed to continue the proper process and was let go without getting an answer regarding his plea for permission. So, but generally, I mean, granted, we have a very specific community in India. They tend to not trust the Upper Uttar Pradesh police under any circumstances. But it's it seems so fishy that he had this for 25 years without the proper permission, and now it's a problem when Hindutva ideology is accelerating, specifically in that state. Um, and also, I thought it was so weird that Sikhs get religious privilege in this regard.
Right.
Off top.
Yeah. Why do
Off
the
top
Sikhs
Yeah, I
get?
was
Why?
gonna say that too.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that too. Yeah.
That
Yeah. Why do the Sikhs get to keep their beards but not the Muslims? They should all go if they're being consistent, right? Um, and again, here's the thing: if the story, here's how I would be like, this is not anti-Muslim bigotry. If the story was, um, he didn't have a beard, he's growing a beard, he's saying it's because he's a Muslim, and we're like, right away, right after, like, yeah, you can't do that, sorry. I would be like, good job. This is not anti-Muslim bigotry, obviously not. This is fighting against Muslim privilege, right? You shouldn't let people's religious, um, excuses make them not follow the rules. You should come down on that hard, right? And while you're at it, make sure the Sikhs, you apply the same rules to the Sikhs, right? Because yeah, he's a Muslim, he shouldn't be able to grow a beard because just because he's a Muslim. So that the same thing applies to the Sikhs. If that was the story, I would be supporting this police department's decision. But it seems like for 25 years they weren't applying this rule, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, let's get rid of the Muslim officers here," and they're like, "Yeah, it's your beard. By the way, we're doing this to you, but not to the Sikhs." You're like, there's something else going on here. There's something else going on here, okay? So I'm not being a hypocrite by having a different standard because Armin is so anti-Hindu, such an anti-Hindu bigot. He's saying like people shouldn't have religious privileges, but now he's saying this is anti-Muslim bigotry, that this guy doesn't get to keep his beard. I'm just saying that your intentions are something else. You're not like, oh yeah, no, we are like so secular and we don't care about religious privilege, and that's why we're like getting rid of this guy because he's not following the rule. That doesn't seem to be your intention. That's all I'm saying. But let me highlight this. Anything in the comment? Oh, let me actually highlight this one. Harsh is saying Sikhs get the privilege because it says their holy book to never cut hair. Others have to ask for and be granted the permission first. I know this is dumb. Yeah, I mean, why doesn't the Muslim get the same privileges as the Sikhs? It's almost as if you guys just don't like Muslims. But almost very suspicious. Maybe we're wrong, but just suspicious. They were saying, did he know the rules before he joined the force? Knowing that, did he sign an employment contract agreeing to abide by the employer standards? I'm not defending the rule itself, just wondering who has the law on their side. Morally, is it okay or obey? I don't know, or not okay to obey a rule you believe is racist? No, my God. It's not racism. Should you risk your income to take stands that may cost your job? I think Deborah doesn't know the details of the story, okay? Because even if it's, we could say like what the police department did was legal, but we can also suspect that its intentions were different than what they pretended to be. Okay, so this is not a bad, yeah, Rivka.
One way that you could investigate something like this, if you were trying to figure out, where was this going, is if there were other religious groups or who also were fired for having a beard that weren't Sikhs. Now, I'm not saying the Sikh law is fair, but that's the law. They don't have to ask for permission, everyone else does. And if you found that like Muslims and Christians and, you know, people don't believe this, but there's Jews that live in India too, Jews or Baha'is or anybody else was fired for having a beard, then you could say, okay, maybe they're not. But his thing is he's saying he applied for permission and they just never answered him one way or the other. So it's like something seems kind of weird, like that, maybe it's like held up in the bureaucracy or what. But I still think it's kind of crazy that they have and unfair that there's special rules for some people. Some people have to apply for permission and some don't. I think either you don't have beards and everybody who wants to have one has to apply for permission. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think some people in the live chat are missing the point. Okay, so Ice Age is saying, why should he be an exception though? Just because you had been doing something for years does not make it acceptable. This is asking for privilege. We're not saying it should be acceptable. We're just coming up with hypotheses on the intentions of the people behind it. We think it shouldn't be an exception. It should have never been an exception, and the rules should have applied equally to everybody at all times. But the fact that they allowed this with Sikhs, and only they're doing this now after 25 years, and they're not allowing it to Muslims, makes us think like, even though yeah, the rules should be applied to everybody, it's just making us guessing the intentions behind enforcing this now. That's what we're saying. Again, Qasim also doesn't get it.
We're
Qasim's,
sensing a pattern
well,
here.
yes, okay. You could apply the rules as you should, but we could, the timing of it and the context of it and the selectiveness of it makes us coming up
And the lack of due
with some,
process.
yeah, the lack of the makes us come up with some guesses about your intentions. Qasim saying, if he knew the rules, the police, he can't blame police. And we're, well, again, he can't, we can blame the police if the intentions do matter, people. The intentions do matter. And again, I already answered this. Okay. No, Qasim, you don't get it. We are saying the rules are rules. Yeah, the rules are rules. The rules should have been applied since the beginning, and the rules should be applied to the Sikh as well. Again, the selectiveness of it and the timing of it makes us guess the intentions behind the police. How come, Qasim? Qasim, why don't you get what we're saying? All right. Did you guys want to add anything, or should we go to the next news?
Next news.
Can we clap? Can I clap?
Yes.
Next news.
Next news. Okay, this is really good stuff. So, signs of progress in Mubarak Bala's legal defense. Yay! In Nigeria. Hashtag free Mubarak Bala. Mubarak Bala, an ex-Muslim atheist and president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, has been detained without charge in Kano State for, as of the time of writing this, 179 days in connection with a Facebook post allegedly blaspheming the Prophet Muhammad. On October 19th, Mubarak Bala's fundamental rights case was heard in Abuja. This is a welcome sign in his legal defense is finally moving forward. No defense was entered by the authorities. The judge has adjourned provisionally until December 10th for judgment. The lead lawyer for the hashtag Free Mubarak Bala campaign, James Ibor, said after the hearing, "Our hope is rekindled, and we are optimistic that justice will be served."
The prosecutors of the state didn't enter any, they didn't provide a defense for why or a reasoning for why. They just allowed the defendants attorneys to talk. I'm not sure. I guess I don't know how their court works there, but
Yes. So again, I'm no expert in Nigerian legal affairs, but according to Humanist International, which has been one of the organizations at the front of this charge to protect Bala, they are saying that uh, yeah, the authorities entered no defense. Like they have no solid case against him. And as of today, he has been detained arbitrarily without charge for 180 days.
I want to just say thank you to Susanna for following this case so religiously, may I say that? Because like we wouldn't be like thank you, like it's so great to have you on the team, Susanna, to like make sure that we are following cases like this when they happen and constantly like not just giving the news once but also keep following up to see what the progress is, right? This is what we're meant to do. This is the vegetable that we give on the side. Like we tease people in with some very entertaining news and like get them excited about like, oh my god, look at this celebrity said that, and we keep making content like this so that we get more subscribers. But then we give you some vegetables that you need to also digest, the things that you need to know that maybe you wouldn't have clicked unless we like give you some other videos, right? So this is important for you guys to know. And Susanna being here makes Atheist Republic as a whole pay more attention to this kind of content and information that you need to know. So thank you to Susanna. There's a lot of people in the live chat are saying free Mubarak. And by the way, also Rivka here, thank you so much for you ask really good questions because I didn't have any questions, and you ask very good follow-up questions. Yeah, so thank you. Anyways, that was thank you, Susanna, for posting the link to everywhere that we're live streaming. Look, guys, we're live streaming in 4 places: on Atheist Republic Facebook, on God or No God Facebook, on Atheist Republic YouTube, and on Atheist Republic Twitch. And Susanna just posted the link for you guys for Free Mubarak, bala.org. And if you guys want to see the updates, thank you for
Yep.
that. Anyways,
So I posted that link because that is where you can find more information, the latest updates, and how you can help take action to raise awareness about the situation of Mubarak Bala. Sign statements, support his legal fund, use the hashtag, all sorts of things. I would also, in the spirit of keeping an eye on atheist political prisoners and prisoners of conscience around the world, would like to put out the call that I'm currently looking for more news in English about Iranian political prisoner Sohail Arabi. There are sources that I do not trust saying that he has. Some sources I do trust say that he's been moved into solitary confinement about a month ago. Sources that I do not trust are updating about that situation, about him being in solitary confinement for over a month, about his family asking for his whereabouts, and intimating a forced disappearance. But I want credible sources on this. So if
no MEK sources.
No MEK sources, okay?
Yes.
Because all I've found so far is MEK sources. And when I see Rajavi, red flag. So yes, please reach out to me if you have more information about that.
Yeah. By the way, Qasim, who I think he has some. You guys, if you want to send Susanna some news articles or suggestions for her to follow, we have a Discord server, right? So link to our Discord server. Even if you just want to hang out with the Atheist Republic family, go join our Discord server. There's a lot of fun things happening there. Link to it in the description. But in the Discord server, there's 2 channels. One channel, news suggestions. Is that what it's called? And so that's where Susanna goes to look for new suggestions for next week. So if you have any suggestions, tell us there. And there's another channel called Video Recommendation. That's where I go to find ideas for videos to do live streams on. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, Rivka, are you in the Discord server?
No.
I'm gonna join. Remember, I didn't even know what Discord was until recently. I thought it was Discord Records that produced the record.
Love you, Mom.
Yes, it's just like an online. It's basically the
chat room.
chat rooms.
Yeah, like we used to call chat rooms
Yes,
in the early days of computers.
Um,
Of
yes,
internet, I mean.
yes,
Yes.
it's pretty cool. Armin and I both have our separate channels where you can get our attention. But what do you want us to
Yes.
talk about?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I hang out mostly in the video recommendation channel. Susanna hangs out. Where do you hang out? Which channel you hang out?
I'm in the news suggestions channel that I just started. I'm in random crap channel sometimes. That's just like the hangout channel. And then I also started my own music channel where I DJ and you listen.
you have a
So
music
you
channel?
have different channels within the chat room. So
Yeah.
it's like you're
So-
in a different room of a giant,
Yes.
like
So the whole thing as a whole is
YMCA or whatever.
yeah, so the whole thing is called the server. So we have the Atheist Republic server, and it has different channels, and you could do different things in different channels. But the main home is called Random SHIT. That's the main channel where everybody just has fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where people just hang out. But then we have like memes, politics, religion, video
Okay.
recommendations, news.
So it's like kind of like MySpace almost too, in a way.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yes, but I also DJ, and so you can listen to what I listen to while I work on Atheist Republic stuff throughout my day.
Nice. Okay. All right, guys, let's end this here. Thank you so much to Susanna and Rivka. Oh, wait, no, we got a super chat by Terrell. Okay, wait, I know what this is now. I know this is 50 Danish crowns?
Kroners.
Kroner,
Right? One, we had this discussion last time. Kroners is plural, but 50 of them would be plural, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought I got it. I was so
Yeah,
proud of
But
crowns
myself.
maybe
is the
he did.
English
Maybe.
translation.
Yeah.
Oh, so it is correct. It's the English translation. So 50 Danish crowns. Yeah, I'm just going to go crowns. It's easier. If we say the Danish version of it, YouTube might think we're referring to the pandemic, and we might get like deprioritized. Terrell saying, Susanna, in light of your video, no, this is for Susanna. You read it, Susanna.
In light of your video on shame, I got a pep talk for you. Later on, listen to "She Bangs" by Ricky Martin and lean into the "She Reminds Me" part. Okay, well, "She Reminds Me" reminds me of a different song. Yeah.
All right.
But I'm more into the funk and the soul. I'm thinking of a soul song.
Okay.
I'm thinking of an Al Green song. Anyways.
Thank you so much, Terrell, for the super chat. That's very sweet.
Thank you for the pep talk.
And thank you to everybody else who gave us super chats and super stickers today. And thank you to everybody who's a member or a patron. Either way, thank you so much for your support. And anybody who is not supporting us financially, that's totally okay. As long as you're subscribed to our YouTube channel or following on our Twitch, then you're on our good side. But if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, or if you're not following on Twitch, then you are a worthless piece of crap. And we hate you, and we do not. Yeah, no. You could go screw yourselves, okay? But you could change that immediately. You could You could immediately go from being a worthless piece of crap to being somebody that we admire and love as part of the Atheist Republic family, just by clicking that subscribe button. It's very easy. You click the subscribe button, and all of a sudden you stop being a worthless piece of crap. And also the people who are moron, especially, they stop becoming becomes cure for their stupidity. Okay, so just subscribe. It just
so it's like blackmail.
Yes. But subscribing to Atheist Republic solves all your world's problems. You become smarter. You become more intelligent. Life becomes better. So you might as well just do it right now. Just try it. Okay, just believe me. It will do that. So subscribe. Do it right now. And if you don't, I know where all of you live.
No.
Just letting you know.
Okay.
All right.
You should subscribe, but I don't support that messaging.
All right. Oh, yeah. See, I'm going to subscribe. Okay, great. Bye.
Bye.
Subscribe right now. Do it. Do it now. Do it. I know where you live.
No.